All right, so we've got everything with Sharpie. We're ready for the next step, and we're going to be adding color today. But before I do that, what I need to do is I need to go around and label my color wheel so I know what colors are going to go in each one of these pie pieces. Okay, so I'm going to start up here at the top. If you don't want to have one right in the center, just have it to where you've got your triangle faced upward. Okay, and I'm going to start right up here. And I want you to do the same thing as me. You can just make sure that you have yours going in the same order. Okay, so I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to put a Y. And I'm going to do this very lightly. You don't want to do this dark and heavy because eventually you're going to want to erase it. Okay, but just for now, do it lightly on the outside edge. I'm going to have a YG here for yellow-green, then green, then a blue-green, okay, blue, blue-violet, violet, red-violet, red, red-orange, orange, and yellow-orange. Okay, so this is going to help me know where all my colors are going to be at. Okay, down the road, this will be very helpful. Okay, today what I'm going to start with is just my primary colors. So I'm looking at this one here, yellow, blue, and red. Okay, I'm going to start with those three. And we're going to be channeling our inner impressionist artist. I showed you 3 artists on the last slide, okay? And these were artists that created color by having the viewer mix those colors with their eyes. So some of the colors they would mix on their palettes, but a lot of the colors were mixed optically, meaning that the viewer, as they looked at it, their eyes mix those colors together. And that's actually what happens when you look at colors on a screen, okay? The pixels have individual separate colors, and your eye sees it from far away as a different color. So I'm going to start up here with yellow, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back at this piece of paper here, because remember how we color-coded it, and I said, okay, well, my yellow is going to, or the color, the pure color is going to be up here, and it's going to be right here, and it's going to be right here. And I said black is going to be in those spots, and these spots are going to be gray. So I'm going to start with pure color spots. What I want to do is I want to kind of follow the shapes of my lines. I think that will look good. And I'm going to do this to where, I'm going to bring my camera down here a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do this to where it still shows a little bit of the white of the paper showing through. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of have them going in this direction here, like so. Okay, and you can kind of have these spots overlap too. You want to fill up the majority of the space, but I'm going to kind of have these lines and these colors sort of act like they're following that outside edge of that shape. Okay, now you can see there's a few spots in here that aren't completely filled, and that's okay. All right, so I've got that one taken care of. I'm going to come down here and look here. Where else do I have color? Okay, that spot right here. So I'm going to follow this around and do the same thing. And they can be longer strokes, they can be shorter. You could even have dots if you wanted to, like that that artist on the first slide, Sarah. He used dots basically, or tiny little daubs of paint instead of longer strokes. Okay, it just depends on your personal style, what you want to have in this, and you can kind of practice some of those before you put it on here. I think that's a good idea. Okay, and you can see I'm not just going through and coloring the entire thing. We want to have some texture in here, okay? Force our viewers to look at these spots and fill in the spaces optically. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go down here. I got one more spot here at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to kind of follow that as well. All right, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to look at the next one. Okay, so where it says G, that's gray, I'm going to have the color mixed with gray. Okay, so I'm going to start with the color. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I know this spot right here, okay, I'm just putting my finger on it, is going to be that spot. And I'm going to leave a little bit more space here than I did in the other ones. A little bit. All right. And then I'm going to use my gray as well. So I'm going to come in there with my gray. So this is what's called a tone. A tone is when you have a color mixed with gray. All right, and we are forcing our viewers to mix this color optically, and you'll see what it looks like towards the end too. Okay, we can add a little bit more yellow in there. We can have a little bit more gray as well. You can kind of go back and forth. Okay, so there's that spot, my gray spot there. I've got another gray spot down here. Okay, so I'm going to move on down here. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. And like I said, I'm leaving this a little bit more open with white space. And I try not to do my marks too structured, I guess you could say. I try and do them more at a random assortment, I guess. I don't try and go like down a row and then up a row. Because usually when you do that, you'll end up with spaces between that just look unnatural. So if you kind of just let this flow naturally, you'll come up with something that looks a lot more visually pleasing. Okay? Right there. Okay, and I still have some of that white of my paper showing through, and that's good. Okay, now we've got two more spots in here, and these are the spots with black. Okay, so that's going to be my shade. Okay, so once again, I'm going to start here, and you can have some bigger strokes in there. You can have some that are shorter, smaller. You can do dots, like I said. Okay. And this time, I'm going to have black. So basically what we're doing is we are creating a regular version of our color, a medium version, and a dark version. Okay? And obviously the more black you have, the darker this thing is going to get. Can I add some more yellow? And just be aware too, since these are water-soluble markers, you can see certain spots like right here where it's making that black bleed a little bit. That's okay though. Just be aware that as you go over it with marker, like I spread that color a little bit. But that's okay. All right. Now I'm going to go over here and do the same thing. All right. You can have chunkier strokes, like these were really thin ones. These over here are chunkier. And I still have a little bit of the white paper showing through, and that's all right. Okay. And you can have a variation. Like you can see I did some chunky yellow strokes, but maybe the black ones are thinner. I'm using more the tip of the marker. Just kind of depends on how you want yours to look. That can be your own specific style. Okay. And then when you pull out from it like this, what you can see is that our eye is visually mixing these colors. So these spots appear to be just solid yellow. Okay, these appear to be like a grayish version, and these appear to be a dark version of our color. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do blue and red today as well. Okay, have fun with it. Maybe practice doing your strokes on another piece of paper. You could do it on this one, that'd be fine, before you start on your project, but otherwise you should be good to go. All right, have fun.